Welcome back to The Express at the tasting room at the Vancouver Playhouse International Wine Festival. Over 1,700 wines from 15 different countries. Wow. Wine may have been around since the age of Dionysus, but some of the methods for making wine have changed, along with some of the models for selling it. Get your tweeting fingers ready, because up next we're heading to a social media symposium.
Today was all about bringing the who's who of social media in the Canadian wine industry to really get together in one room and talk about where we're at and where we're going, from an overview of social media to the next 2 to 3 years, really starting to think about mobile commerce and how that plays into everything.
This 3-hour social media symposium was held during the Vancouver Playhouse International Wine Festival, and the speakers were all experts in wine and social media.
Getting my messages out for the various projects.
Wine is a feel-good industry, right? It's not a necessity, although some people might say it is. It's a nice to have, and it's experiential as well. So when you break open a nice bottle of red and you're sharing it, you have an experience, and social media allows you to share that beyond your kitchen table, beyond your great meal in a restaurant. But for the brands that are here at the wine festival, it opens them up to new customers and to see what's being said about their brands. So social media is very, very important.
Our clients talk about with our employees is research.
Social media has a large role in it right now. People are getting more of a personal connection with the individual brands in the wine, and I think when people drink wine, they want to know more about it. They want to know who made it, how it was done, and that's really the focus now with social media. It's making it personal and interactive.
That's part of the relationship building we're doing with our customers.
People are extremely curious, especially those that have developed a sudden interest in it. They want to know what's going on with the wines. They want to know when the grapes are being picked. Is it going to be a good year? Is it going to be a bad year? Stuff like that. And before, we might get a press release out once in a while, but there was that space between us and our customer. And now with social media, they can ask that in the morning or in the moment, and I'll be answering right away.
The audience at this social media symposium included wine bloggers, winery owners, and consultants to the wine industry.
It's really interesting to see such a cross-section of speakers that come to social media from such different places. And I think some of those tips, which they share and I can't share often enough when I'm giving counsel to my clients, is that you need to go to a two-way dialogue. It's no longer a one-way method of talking to people. And overall and above that, you also need to listen. You need to listen and then react accordingly.
I do a lot of tweeting about wineries, and I learned some good things about how to best engage the wineries, and also about how conversations work on Twitter that I didn't really know before. So I found it useful in that. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm just trying to, build up a community of people that enjoy BC wines.
And enjoying and connecting over wine is something that can be done both on and offline, especially during the Playhouse International Wine Festival. In Vancouver, I'm Kendall Harris for Shaw TV.
If you'd like to jump on the wine social media bandwagon, you can start with this festival. Their Twitter handle is @PlayhouseWine. You can also like them on Facebook. And don't forget about us. Our tweets are small but mighty at The Express Van, and my personal one is Johanna M. Ward. Now, up next on The Express, we're going to follow along a personal journey with one of BC's best-known wine connoisseurs. We even get to look inside his cellar.
The great Bach cantatas you can listen to again and again and again and again without ever being tired. And a great wine is like that.
You could call this a typical day at the office for John Schreiner, savoring the subtle complexities of this fine red as he rediscovers his love for the drink with each and every sip.
Even though I've been, studying the subject for 30 years or 40 years, I'm still discovering.
Over the past 3 decades, John's been BC's eyes and ears in the wine industry. He started as a business writer, doing wine columns on the side, but as his passion grew, so did the demand for his expertise. And now John has hundreds of articles and dozens of books under his belt, the product of his love for BC's finest export.
I once gave a speech to an audience and said, I was a friend to British Columbia wine when you had no friends. But today, there's everybody understands that British Columbia makes really good wine. I'm proud to have been along for the journey.
With his passion comes an impressive collection of rare and unique vintages.
Yeah, I've never counted, but my guess is it's probably about 1,000 or so.
Wine from all over the globe. Merlots, Bordeaux, Pinot Grigios. John's got so many bottles he can't even keep track of what's what.
Well, I have no idea where this came from. This is, I think, an Argentinian wine.
Not all of them are expensive. There's probably hundreds of bottles here that are under $20, because for John, a true wine lover will try anything.
I just enjoy wine. I mean, I'm happy with a well-made $12 wine, just as much as I would be happy with a $100 bottle.
These days, John has retired from the financial field, which means he can put even more time into pouring and penning. He'd probably be doing that anyway.
The basic requirement is to, I think, to be genuinely interested in acquiring the knowledge and genuinely interested in telling other people about it.
Spoken like a true connoisseur. I'm Tim Chung in North Vancouver for The Express.
John was in his 20s the first time that he enjoyed a bottle of wine, and he was so new to the wine world, he broke the cork when he was opening the bottle, and yes, he got little bits of cork in his glass. Nice to know it happens to all of us. You can follow along on John's wine blog at johnschreiner.blogspot.com. You're watching The Express, and we have more of the sparkling and social media coming up.
So tonight we're going to do something a little bit fun.
Whistler has more than 120 restaurants, and we've got a top 4 tour. The Fraser Valley is full of foodies. See how they wine and dine. The Express. We are your local voice.
Community programming on Shaw has been generously sponsored in part by
hairstyling and color services for Shaw TV, provided by The Lounge Hair Studio, loungehairstudio.com.
Almost 4.5 million Canadians live with arthritis. It's a leading cause of pain and disability. Arthritis strikes young and old alike, and the burden of illness takes an enormous toll. The Canadian Arthritis Network is a not-for-profit organization that funds research and connects today's players in arthritis research. We're all working together so that today's arthritis research becomes tomorrow's cure. For more information, please visit arthritisnetwork.ca.
Welcome back to The Express in the tasting room at the Vancouver Playhouse International Wine Festival. This festival happens once a year, and it's packed full of educational seminars, wine minglers, lunches, brunches, and more. Something for every wine lover. But how does this sound? A tour that takes you to 4 award-winning restaurants and starts with a champagne sabering. That's how they wine and dine Whistler style.
It was honestly the most important element of my family life growing up. At least 3 days a week we had sort of family sit-down dinners, and that's really where we bonded. That's kind of how the two were integrated there.
One part Italian, one part Irish, Joe Facciolo grew up passionate about food and drink, and now he shares that passion with others on the Finer Things Whistler Tasting Tour. 4 courses, 4 restaurants, 1 night.
Tours are structured in a format that we call progressive dining, where each course of the experience happens at a different location.
The tour starts in the Barefoot Bistro cellar, home to wines and traditions dating back to Napoleon Bonaparte, who believed sabering a bottle of champagne before battle promised victory.
So much so that he actually made it law that one of his generals had to savor a bottle every single time before hitting the battlefield. Hey!
So a victorious night awaited us, which wasn't hard to predict, when opening with a beet appetizer plate prepared by the Barefoot Bistro's executive chef Melissa Craig.
Melissa did win the Canadian Culinary Championships a couple of years back and was crowned the best chef in Canada, so she is an absolute joy to work with.
Our backstage pass to Whistler's culinary scene carried on to High Steakhouse, as informed guides provided insights and conversation about everything from plates and people to pairings.
So tonight we're going to do something a little bit fun. We're going to do a blind wine tasting. We do a lot of fun things along the way. We do some champagne sabering, blind wine tastings, and there's a very social aspect to kind of moving around from restaurant to restaurant with a local guide hosting the evening.
For 12 years running, High's has been voted by locals as the resort's top steakhouse. Visitors may not be able to pick out these local gems, especially when faced with 120 restaurants to choose from.
It can be very difficult to choose where to go. Whistler Tasting Tours allows guests to explore a number of different places and sort of find their own favorite place while on the tour.
The main course of the evening lands us in Italy. A hand-painted fresco greets us, as does the smiling owner of Quattro.
Antonio Corsi's our owner, and he's definitely Italian, comes from a small city just outside of Rome.
And welcome to Quattro.
Thank you. In the back right corner, the artist has actually done a still of Antonio done as Bacchus, and Bacchus is the god of food and wine. Italian dining is really about enjoying food and wine. I have to say, our owner always speaks of abbondanza, which means abundance and enjoying a passion for food and life.
Cheers.
When you have a passion for food and life, it comes out in your cooking as well.
And also in your conversation. The Finer Things tour wrapped up with a dessert cheese plate at the Fire Rock Lounge. Like every course throughout the evening, each plate is paired with your choice of red or white wine, carefully selected by your host.
The pairing that we had today was a special selection from our chef, Bradley Cummings. He pairs the cheeses with the ice wine. We were pouring Inniskillen Riesling. It made in very small batches, a little bit on the sweeter side, so it really complements the cheeses very well.
Pairings left to the experts, guests are left to sit back and enjoy good company, the main ingredient of a memorable night out.
It's really a fabulous evening of flavor and fun.
From Whistler, I'm Nicole Fitzgerald for Shaw TV.
Cheers.
The website is whistlertastingtours.com. They also host afternoon tours and dessert tours as well. Delicious. And we have more of BC's Food and Wine Award winners up next. Meet Chef Jeff Massey of Restaurant 62. He's known as the guy who brought fine dining to the Fraser Valley.
The bread's from Langley, the beets are from Yarrow, parsnips are Yarrow.
At Restaurant 62, the menu is locally inspired and ingredient driven, thanks to its inspired and driven executive chef, Jeff Massey.
You know, day-to-day challenges, day-to-day adrenaline rushes, climaxes, every single day there's something to deal with, something to fix. Every service gets really busy. There's a crunch time, there's a pressure, and then it's gone, and it's a lot of fun. You always, the next day you get better.
Our reputation has skyrocketed since Jeff came on, and he's just done great things for the business and for the Fraser Valley in general. I think he really brought a food culture out here.
Jeff started in the industry at 14, washing dishes. He did his formal training at DeBrule Culinary Institute and worked under BC Restaurant Hall of Famer Pino Pastorero. But before all of that, his first food mentor was his mom.
My mom always cooked, so there were 6 in our family, so we never went out. You know, money's always a little tighter with the bigger family, of course. Well, I was the youngest and around her the most, bit of a mama's boy for sure. So
awesome.
Yeah, definitely a big influence.
Mama's boy's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, she must be so proud. And now you're kind of sharing that with your kids.
Yes, yeah, we like to hang out a lot. My boy's 3, he knows how to make pancakes already.
He's a family man, a talented chef, and a business owner.
I think my biggest strength is food, right? And then being as good as I can be with the food brings me good staff, great employees. And then when you get that right person, that right fit for the team, then you get really committed to that individual. They become part of your family.
That work-family life has grown in unexpected ways since Jeff joined Restaurant 62 in 2006. They created R62 TV.
So we've got those going into some really great panini-style sandwiches, and you should definitely come down and check us out. The online cooking show came from so many requests for cooking classes, but we're open 7 days a week. We do 2 services a day. It's just a little challenging to get people in for cooking classes, so we decided what we could do.
Welcome to the Wine Guru, the personal sommelier that fits in your pocket.
His business partners recently launched the popular Wine Guru app.
It's free. It's online right now, and basically you just punch in the food that you're going to have, the type of dinner you want to cook, a couple of other simple questions, and it'll match it up with 3 different pairings.
And the restaurant is also expanding the catering side of the business.
I think that both Jeff and Eric, my business partners, they're both real movers and shakers, and they're always ambitious and trying new things and just moving in new directions, always eager to try something new.
Respected by his business partners, staff, and the many who enjoy his food, Jeff Massey is hardworking and easygoing. with a clear perspective on his success.
So the way that it's all stacked up is beautiful. The plating's beautiful. And would you say that that kind of translates to the way you've built up your own empire?
Maybe, yeah, layers and layers, handle everything individually and try and make each thing its best and then try and combine them to a real nice full picture. Yeah, sure.
The website is restaurant62.ca to download that free Wine Guru app. You can also find out about their book club that has a focus on, yeah, you can guess it, food and wine. You're watching The Express, and it's time now for our spotlight on local foodie events. Sample mouth-watering dishes paired with a fine glass of wine and take part in a cooking workshop at the Italian Cultural Center. It will be 2 days of exploring what Puglia has to offer: good food, fine wine, and the territory and music. Taste and learn about what you're drinking at Everything Wine's Back to Earth event. Producing organically has very important benefits to the environment as well as to our own health and well-being. A new product salon at the Marquee Wine Cellars features a diverse selection of newly arrived wines from around the world. See just how good your palate is in the blind tasting portion, where you can win a bottle of the wine if you identify the grape variety and region correctly. And that's it for today's Express from the tasting room at Canada's premier wine festival, the 34th annual Vancouver Playhouse International Wine Festival, where we celebrated 15 countries and 181 wineries. We want to say a special thanks again to the Chileans for pulling out all the stops and to you for watching The Express, only on Shaw TV.